Okay, behind me, as you can now see, the bathroom has been replaced. At this point in time, with the Yasna completed, we are moving away from Satanism. Though we will respect our brothers and sisters and friends that we've made in Satanism, we are no longer a part of Satanism. And we're moving forward into a whole different religious idea. And I have to say that in the direction that we've gone and how this has evolved since 2010, we're definitely no longer Satanists at all. The point of this video is to explain the Yasna before we just throw the Yasna out there. We're good at just confusing the shit out of people, so I'm going to try to take a step back so we don't confuse the shit out of people. And basically what's going to happen is the original Zoroastrian Yasna is 72 chapters long. After chapter 12, it's all just a bunch of songs, which is what, it's what a gatha is. A gatha is a song. The Yasna is composed of gathas. I didn't see any point in writing a whole bunch of goof-ass songs. We did do the ritual through the Soma drink and created the traditional Armanist Creed, which has already been published. And that is how that aspect was set up. The other aspect that's changing from here on out is we're bringing in the third dimension in the magic. Under the philosophy of spiritual geometry as described and theorized and philosophized, and whatever words you want to use, by Rudolf Steiner, mixed in with what we're doing with mirror magic and everything else. So the first thing to point out, there's obviously now a mirror on the ceiling, and during the ritual there'll be a second mirror completely under it. This will create the third dimension with a third strobe light bouncing between the two on the floor. The normal altar table will be on the floor, and people will be seated around it on pillows in Indian style that you see very much in the East. We've lowered, we have control lower on the Tesla coil, things of that nature. One of the major changes that's going to occur on our magic system now is known as the Dikpala. The Dikpala is 10 devas that represent the temple guardians. So, it's like a chaos star. You have 8 directions. You have above, mirror, below, mirror. And then everything's going to work in a 3-dimension versus where most magic works in a 2-dimension with just a circle on the floor. Now we're going to create a sphere or a cube or whatever 3-dimensional object you want to work with, and that is what we're going to create during the Yasna. This creation then charges the materials that we're going to use even more so. What's going to happen is after the main part of the Yasna is done, the traditional Armanist Creed has been said, each participant will get up and perform a prescribed blasphemy against Christianity, such as they will have a cross. They're going to break the cross, they're going to dip it in the menstrual blood, and they're going to burn it in the fire pot. Then they're going to take a page out of the good old Koran, and they're going to draw the Om symbol with the menses blood on the page that they rip out. Reason being is if you actually study this stuff, you find out that there's a symbol and you constantly see throughout the Quran, which is an inverted Om symbol. And a lot of what Muhammad did, he tried to invert a lot of Zoroastrianism and a lot of Vedic Hinduism. So we're going to set it right with the proper Om symbol, then we're going to take that page of the Quran and we're going to burn that too. Then, once all that process is said and done, we get all the ash from the fire pot into the collection bowl. We're going to fill up burlap sacks. Each individual member will have their own burlap sack They're going to put their own sigil to whichever demon they're working the closest with, and it's going to fill it up with that ash. They're going to close that off, and then they're going to go spread the ash somewhere pre-chosen for them to spread that ash, which will have the negative charge from the Yasna. And it'll have a full 3-dimensional charge instead of just a 2-dimensional charge. And this is how we will start spreading the evil spirit out into the community. Because originally the Yasna is designed to purify the water. Because water is supposedly inherently evil by the story of Anahita becoming Jahit. And so at the end of the Yasna, the Zoroastrians, they would walk together, they go into the well, and they dump the rest of the soma and the other water into the well. Much like you see them putting fluoride in the water here and back in Nazi Germany. So it was a form of controlling people through the water. And again, the soma had the mushroom and the ephedra, and you're combining it into water, which is going to create a stupor amongst people, yada yada yada. So, moving forward, the point of the Yasna, we'll have a meat sacrifice, we'll have the soma sacrifice. Throughout the Yasna, the Herbad will be using the blood pot that's filled with Mensa's blood. It'll be rubbed on the altar, it'll be rubbed on the idols. All the cups will be dipped into it, the decanter will be dipped into it. Everything's going to be ended up covering in that blood, just as the Zoroastrians use the holy water to rub all over their stuff during their ritual. Because the Mensa's blood corrupts everything. That's pretty much how it's going to go. It's very repetitive. It's very much over and over and over again. There will be 3 strobe lights running versus only 2. We'll obviously be using the music that we normally use. We'll be using the Tesla coil, so on and so on. It's just we're going to be adding another dimension, which should make it that much more powerful. And once we get the other camera operating, the full spectrum camera operating, we'll record a second Yasna with that camera to see if anything else spikes up there. But so that's how it'll be. The altar will be on the north wall where it belongs, like it should have been the whole time. We will no longer be using an altar on the west wall because evil comes from the north. And when we do the Yasna itself, the other altar table will be set in the middle of the floor next to the mirror, and people will be sitting around the altar table, and then the mirrors will be outside of those folks. And again, strobe lights will be bouncing inside and up and down, and we'll be moving into that 4th dimension. And we'll be creating another vector with the mirrors to create that much more spiritual connection. And that's pretty much what's going on at this point. And as I said, we've now officially removed the Baphomet, showing that we are now moving away from Satanism.